sneaky, and I did my tour of duty working in the call centers in Thunder Bay, and I've been called a cocksucker by women who sound like my grandmother, so when they call, I know their little tricks. They call and they go, "Hello, is Mr. Shoot? Is Mr. Shoot? Is Mr. Shootchak there?" I'm like, no, he's dead. So then I hang up, they call back. And they go, "You do realize you owe us $15,000 for your unpaid student loans, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, I know." "Well, what do you intend to do about that?" "Nothing." You see, Susan, if that's your real name, by my simple act of deadbeatery, I'm an economic driver. Me not paying my bills allows you to have a job. It allows your supervisor to have a job. It allows the guy you buy your drugs from in the parking lot on your breaks to have a job. If I paid my bills, think of all the people who would be unemployed. Now that's just irresponsible of me to actually be paying stuff. And I kind of have a thing against authority. The policeman is not my friend. I know that because, well, either I'm doing something criminal, or I'm drunk, or I'm drunk and high, or I'm doing something criminal while I'm drunk and high, or I'm carrying a can of gas. The policemen always have a lot of questions for me. Like, what's your name? Where are you going with that can of gas? What's in the sack? This isn't your first time in handcuffs, is it? Other people who hate the police are the Occupy movements. And now, my thoughts on the Occupy movements are probably going to be different from a lot of other people's, but I do get behind the fact that they hate cops as much as I do. However, I just don't understand how change is actually affected by camping. Now, I understand they're mad at the bankers, and they're mad at the insurance agents, and they're mad at the government, but they're facing the wrong target. Who they really need to be mad at and blame for how fucked up society is right now is Milton fucking Bradley. Think about the games you played when you were kids. Monopoly? What does Monopoly teach you? It teaches you to fuck over everybody you know so you can build slum tenements and charge rent up the ass. You go to jail, you pay $50, and you're out, just like real life. The game of life, you win that by having the most kids possible. We're at 7 billion people on the planet right now. We're winning the game of life. A lot of these motherfuckers have to die for us to get paid, but hey, we got it in the bank. And my favorite, Clue. Clue is a nice game that teaches you that when you have a wrench and a dead body in the conservatory, when the police ask you a question, never say your last name has anything to do with the color or the color spectrum at all. What's your last name? Don't say Peacock. Don't say Mr. White. Don't say Mustard. What's your name? Mr. Black. You're going to jail. Racism. One group of people who really do deserve to get hit with a wrench. Have you people seen the commercials for the Snuggie? It's a blanket that you wear. And my favorite part of those commercials is when they first introduce it and they have people struggling to put the blanket on. Like, this is the hardest thing they've ever tried. Don't you hate it when you find blankets inadequate? Oh God, this blanket just sucks. This is something an infant does from birth, is able to cover themselves with a blanket properly. But apparently there's a market for people who would rather just look like a Care Bear all the fucking time. Which is nice, because when the zombie apocalypse does come, they have these nice, texting, fuzzy-wearing people that you can trip so the zombies get them first. It's like a nice little hot pocket. Alright, I'm just gonna end with a joke. This is my favorite joke, and I get a mixed response with it. A young boy and his father are out fishing as the young boy is reaching puberty. He has a lot of questions for his dad. So he goes, "Dad, what does a vagina look like?" The father thinks for a second and he goes to his son, "Well, son, before sex, a vagina is like a rose. It's one of the most beautiful things you'll ever see. You will be thankful to see it every time that you do." So they keep fishing for a while, and then the son looks up at his dad again and says, "Well, what does it look like after sex, Dad?" "Well, son, have you ever seen a bulldog eating mayonnaise?" Thanks a lot, I'm Todd.